Governor Sanders is unveiling new legislation with the goal of limiting Chinese influence in the state. And health leaders across the world weigh in on the ongoing measles outbreak in Texas, which has led to the death of one child.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Well, thank you for joining us today for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with meteorologist Stephen Elmore. We're in the middle of a beautiful week, and so far when we've looked at the 7-day forecast, there hasn't been really any bad news in sight, maybe a little rain.
Yeah, a little bit of rain, a little bit later on in the forecast. At least for the end of this week, though, it's been picture perfect outside. Even today, we had that cold front move through yesterday, so it's a little bit cooler, but still plenty of sunshine. There's not a cloud in sight out there. It's going to be gorgeous today, going to be gorgeous for tomorrow as well. We take a look across the area. I challenge you to find some clouds anywhere because right now we just have plenty of blue skies from northwest Arkansas to eastern Oklahoma and across the river valley this afternoon. High pressure is in place. That's why we have nothing but sunshine out there for today. Absolutely gorgeous out there. Perfect temperature range as well this afternoon. Anywhere between those mid to upper 60s. We'll hit some 70s by the time we get later on today. We take a look at what we're tracking over the next couple of days. Getting a bit cooler for today, actually. That cold front pushed through yesterday. What it did is brought in some cooler air. So if you noticed this morning, it was a bit chilly outside. Those temperatures started off anywhere between the upper 30s and low 40s. But even heading into the afternoon, there's that northwest breeze that's just a little bit cool every once in a while. But overall, keeping temperatures pretty mild for today. Warming trend continues, though, into tomorrow. We're going to be seeing those daytime highs back up into the 70s until we get to the weekend. And that's when we have not one, but 2 cold fronts coming in. First one's bringing in that cold air. Second one bringing in some rain chances. Current temperatures across the area, low 60s across northwest Arkansas, mid to upper 60s across the river valley. River valley is where we'll see the best chance of seeing some of those low 70s later on today. Northwest Arkansas, the rest of the afternoon into the evening hours, we'll see those mid 60s as our daytime highs. Nothing but clear skies all day long across the river valley. We'll eventually see those temperatures tapping out into the upper 60s and low 70s. And this evening, no matter where you are, really not bad outside. Even after work, we're still talking about that temperature range between the mid to upper 50s and low 60s. Nice evening to get outside. Again, this weekend is when we have some changes back into the forecast. And also, by the time we get to early next week, maybe talking about some thunderstorms. We'll talk about it coming up.
Have that much to say.
Thanks, Stephen. Well, 2-time Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman has died. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office confirms he and his wife were found dead in their New Mexico home. Officials say they do not suspect foul play, though there is an open investigation. Hackman rose to stardom in the 1967 film Bonnie and Clyde. He went on to bring home 2 Oscars for Best Actor in The French Connection in 1972, and then 2 decades later for Best Supporting Actor in Unforgiven. He was 95 years old. USAID workers cleared out their workspaces today as the agency that provides humanitarian aid overseas gets dismantled. This comes as the Trump administration announces plans for much bigger cuts to the federal workforce. Natalie Brand reports.
Supporters clapped as former USAID employees collected their belongings from the agency's now closed Washington headquarters. The moment brought some to tears.
I just wanted them to know that I appreciated the 20 years that we spent together protecting the American people from deadly pandemic diseases and ensuring that people throughout the world understood that America is great because America is good.
Staffers at the U.S. Agency for International Development are clearing out as the Trump administration slashes foreign aid. CBS News has confirmed a nearly 90% cut in foreign aid contracts, totaling nearly $60 billion. While the USAID has been a key target for President Trump's downsizing, the administration is giving all government agencies about 2 weeks to submit plans for reorganization and prepare for what it calls large-scale reduction in force or mass layoffs.
The new memo notes agencies should look at duplication and positions that are non-critical. Elon Musk, the Department of Government Efficiency's top advisor, hasn't put a number on coming layoffs.
We wish to keep everyone who is doing a job that is essential and doing that job well.
But unions say so far the firings have been reckless.
These are critical positions, and they're not just wasteful positions.
Among the thousands of newly hired workers laid off last week, dozens of IRS staffers in Ogden, Utah, home to one of the biggest IRS processing centers.
These are the people who process your tax returns. These are the people who get your refunds out to you.
The 6,700 cuts at the IRS are among the largest agency firings to date, just as tax season ramps up. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, Bentonville man first accused of domestic violence with his girlfriend is now accused of murdering her in Mexico. Johan Lopez is facing multiple charges, starting with an incident in Benton County last July. Prosecutors say Lopez beat his girlfriend, failed to show up for his August arraignment when it was later revealed he fled with his girlfriend, Nathalie Corona, and their child to California and then Mexico. He now faces a homicide charge in Mexico after returning to the States without her. Mexican officials found Corona's body in September, and after 3 months in California custody, Lopez showed up in Benton County Court on Tuesday for his bond hearing.
There are a couple of new cases that were also set at that time. Those cases are under investigation right now. A charging decision has not been made at this time, but they are under review for charging.
That includes charges of terroristic act, violating a no-contact order, failure to appear in court, firearm possession, and domestic battery. Lopez's next court date is set for March 24th. Well, now to the latest at the Arkansas Capitol, where Governor Sanders unveiled new legislation aimed at limiting Chinese influence in the state. The Communist China Defense Package would ban companies linked to China's government from owning property near critical infrastructure like military bases and power stations. The Republican-backed legislation also prohibits lobbying on behalf of China, Russia, and other designated foreign adversaries.
The threat is real and the enemy is here. They're targeting state governments, military bases, industrial sites, and every other facet of American society. And with President Trump back in the White House, I'm afraid they're only going to try to undermine our country more.
Sanders said the new law would require Chinese Communist Party-linked companies to quickly divest from prohibited properties once signed. And Arkansas lawmakers have rejected a controversial bill that would have required public school kids to watch an anti-abortion group's fetal development video. The Baby Olivia Act narrowly failed to pass a Senate committee on Wednesday, despite passing in the House by a wide margin. 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats have blocked the bill in the committee twice. Sponsors say, though, they will try again. And Governor Sanders signing 2 bills this week that are expected to reshape the state's alcohol industry. One bill increases the number of liquor licenses for each person or corporation. Currently, state law limits the number to 1, but when the new law takes effect, it increases to 3, but only for counties with more than 200,000 people.
What we're trying to prevent is maybe a large conglomerate from coming in and pushing out all the other businesses in the state. So what this does is it's a slow change, it's a small change. And I think that's what most of the liquor stores were concerned about. Any changes you make are coming in, really they're in the favor of the free market from a position that has not been a free market product.
The other bill the governor signed allows grocery and convenience stores to deliver alcohol. Right now, only liquor stores are allowed to deliver. Both changes will take effect 90 days after the end of the legislative session. Also at the state capitol, lawmakers announced the Generating Arkansas Jobs Act of 2025. That bill is focused on upgrading the state's energy infrastructure and will replace steam electric stations and coal plants in Arkansas that are scheduled to be closed by 2030. Sponsors say they believe the plan will not only brighten the future for utility development in Arkansas, but will also provide a spark for the state's economy.
We will create a new avenue for energy production that promotes faster, more efficient energy development while ensuring high levels of accountability that take care of our ratepayers, all while maximizing the goal of our state's economic potential.
The governor released a statement sharing her support for the bill, saying she believes it will help the natural state be more competitive in the energy industry. Well, a local solid waste hauler company is aiming to make recycling more accessible in rural communities. Neighbors NWA is a waste collection service for rural areas. They're now offering recycling options to those in Goshen who didn't have many other options until now. They're the only company in the area that offers a dedicated recycling-only option for rural customers. The owner says accessibility is key for recycling, and they've already seen positive results in the community.
Gone from essentially September, where we were collecting like 0 recycling out in that area, to now having to rethink about how we're organizing our trucks to do the collections.
Now offering curbside services, they hope more people will take advantage of this. And happening today, RDOT will host a public hearing about proposed improvements on Highway 71B and Towson Avenue in Fort Smith. The project would include milling and inlaying the roadway from Highway 271 to 64. You can share your thoughts from 4 to 7 at the Public Library on Rogers Avenue. You can also send in comments online through March 13th. Well, Texas has reported the first death in this year's measles outbreak, an unvaccinated child, according to health officials. This marks the first measles death in the U.S. in nearly a decade. Jared Hill has the latest.
In Northwest Texas, the first confirmed measles death in the U.S. since 2015, an unvaccinated child here at Covenant Health in Lubbock.
This is a big deal, and we have known that we've had measles in our community. We are now seeing a very serious consequence.
The measles outbreak has now grown to more than 120 cases in Texas since last month, quickly spreading to 9 counties after starting in an undervaccinated Mennonite community.
That vaccine, after 2 doses, is preventing 99% of hospitalization and severe illness and death that would otherwise be expected in unvaccinated populations.
Before the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, known as MMR, was introduced in 1963, 400 to 500 people died from measles every year. Wednesday, President Donald Trump's new health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's been skeptical of vaccines, said his office is monitoring the outbreak.
It's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year.
But for Texas mom Caitlin Norris, whose 8-month-old daughter is showing all the symptoms despite a negative test.
It's terrifying. I've read a lot of things about how children have seizures because of the high temperatures of their fevers and brain damage, and they die.
Nationally, vaccinations have dropped since the COVID-19 pandemic, threatening herd immunity, seen by professionals as the key to preventing a measles outbreak. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Public health officials say someone can have measles for 10 to 14 days before significant symptoms start to show. The virus is so infectious it can linger in the air for up to 2 hours after someone has left an area.